Recognized as one of the most influential authors of the 20th century, Christie created a vast literary corpus that included a considerable number of short stories, plays, and romance novels.
I would like to know what is the best story to you about Poirot?
Oh, no, that's a tall order.
I know it was difficult to you.
Very difficult to say, isn't it? I should think. I should think. It's very difficult offhand, isn't it? Perhaps The Murder of the Orient Express.
The Murder of the Orient Express. In the Orient Express. Orient.
However, she is famous for her 66 detective novels featuring icon characters like Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, which are still successfully published worldwide. Christie holds the record as the most translated English author in the history of publishing, second only to William Shakespeare. I've chosen to talk about the first book through which I was introduced to the author's writing, namely Murder on the Orient Express. Besides being one of the author's earliest work, it's also the most famous. Moreover, the book has been adapted into 2 films. Regarding the book, Christie often used setting familiar to her for her story. For example, the novel Murder on the Orient Express was written at the Pera Palace Hotel in Istanbul, the southern terminus of the railway. The plot revolves around the famous detective Hercule Poirot, who finds himself aboard the Orient Express train. During the journey, a passenger, Mr. Ratchet, a distinguished American gentleman, is found dead in his compartment. Poirot discovers that the murderer is actually an Italian named Cassetti, accused of the kidnapping and murder of Daisy Armstrong. The train is stranded due to the heavy snowfall in Yugoslavia, and Poirot begins to hypothesize that the murderer is one of the passengers in this victim's compartment. Poirot endeavors to solve the case by interrogating the numerous suspects on the train. With cunning and deduction, he unravels a series of intricate connections among the passengers and uncovers the truth behind the murder, revealing a web of revenge and secret. The book is known for its gripping plot, well-defined characters, and the final twist that made Agatha Christie one of the most celebrated authors of the detective genre. The book is divided into 3 parts. The first being the crime and the beginning of the investigation. The second concerning the characters' testimonies. And the third where all the pieces come together to solve the complex puzzle of the murder, which Poirot's investigation. The plot is rich in twists and turns, and Agatha Christie managed to captivate the reader's attention through the masterful use of suspense. A book so famous, of course, has inspired several directors and film producers. We remember Sidney Lumet, who directed the 1974 film, and Kenneth Branagh, who directed and portrayed Poirot in the 2017 film. Yes, the book I present to you has indeed been adapted into 2 films. So, what are the substantial differences between the book and the films? The first film is from 1974 and remains faithful to the original novel, except for some name changes. Furthermore, some events have differences that do not alter the development of the story. The only substantial difference is found at the beginning of the film. Through newspaper articles, scrolling, and voiceovers, we learn about the Armstrong family's story, the kidnapping of their daughter Daisy, her death, as well as the death of her parents and the maid. We immediately imagine that this family is central to the story we are about to see, whereas in the book we discover it during the investigation. The film leaves you breathless, thanks also to the actors like Lauren Bacall or Sean Connery. The 2017 film, directed by Kenneth Branagh, who also plays Poirot, focus on human morality, highlights the tragedy people face when they lose someone they care about, citizens' revenge, and reflects the search for inner peace. In my opinion, it deviates quite a bit from the book, to the point that the film's plot becomes almost unfamiliar to some who has already read the book. The film can have a free interpretation as charters, and narrative are distorted. The Swedish Olson becomes Spanish, named Estravados, and played by Penelope Cruz. The charter of the Greek doc, who adds Poirot in the investigation, disappears. The charter of Miss Debenham is used for allowing Poirot to confront the case, and Mr. Ratchet, played by Johnny Depp, seems to want to seduce Mr. Hubbard, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. In the film, Poirot has a personal motivation for wanting to solve the case, which has nothing to do with the novel. However, being a book lover, I enjoyed the book much more, which left me glued to the pages because of the author's writing.